une grande augmentation dans la criminalité,
There's been a big rise
le coût de la
in
vie,
the crime rate, the
les
cost
morts
of living,
à cause des drogues,
deaths
chaos
caused by
total
drugs, and total
dans nos
chaos
aéroports
when it comes to
et
our
notre système de rail.
airports and our rail
Tout semble
services.
être brisé.
Everything
Oh,
seems to be broken.
Justin Trudeau sera
Oh,
offusqué.
Justin Trudeau would
que j'ai
be
dit ça.
insulted that I've
Il
said
pense que
that.
si on parle pas
He
des
thinks
problèmes
that
qu'il a
if we're
causés,
not
que ces
talking about the
problèmes
problems
seront
that he's
oubliés.
caused, then these problems will be
En fait,
forgotten.
Il a dit que
In
je ne
fact,
devrais jamais parler
he
de ces
said that
problèmes-là.
I should never mention
Parce que les
these
Canadiens n'ont
problems
jamais eu
because
aussi
Canadians
bien la vie.
have never had
Il
life
a
so
dit
good.
dans un grand discours
He said in a big
devant
speech
2000 lobbyistes
in front of
et adjoints
2,000
politiques libéraux
lobbyists
à une
and
levée de
liberal
fonds.
political assistants at a
Ici, à
fundraising
Ottawa.
event here in
Les gens
Ottawa.
payent $500 pour
People
l'écouter.
paid $500
Il a
to
dit
listen to him,
que les
and there
les choses n'ont
he
jamais
said
été aussi
that
bien.
things have never
Et
gone as
savez-vous
well.
quoi?
And
Il a
you know
raison.
what?
Pour les
He's
gens
right.
dans cette salle,
For people in that
c'était
room with
jamais
him,
aussi bien que
they'd
maintenant.
never had it as good
Les
as
2000
now.
personnes dans
The
la salle qui ont
2,000
reçu
people
une
in
augmentation
that
de
room who
contrats de
got
lobbying
an increase
et de
in
consultation
lobbying and
de
consultant
100%
contracts,
depuis son arrivée
100%
au
rise
pouvoir.
since his
Pour eux, ça
arrival
va très
to power.
bien.
Of course, for them, things are
Une
going very well.
augmentation, plus de 15 milliards de dollars qu'on dépense sur des contrats
Over
pour des
15
consultants
million
qui sont
that
payés
we're paying
des
for
fois
these consultants that are often paid
chaque jour.
$1,500
cette 15
per day.
milliards de dollars, 15
So
milliards
this
de dollars, ça, c'est
15
$1,000 pour chaque
billion,
famille
that's
canadienne.
$1,000 per Canadian family.
Ça va bien pour
The
Mackenzie,
Mackenzies of
n'est-ce
this
pas?
world,
Ça va
things are going
très
really
bien
well
pour
for them.
Mackenzie.
Things are
Des
great for
contrats de
them
100 millions de dollars,
with
une
these
augmentation,
100 million
50 fois plus
contracts,
élevée qu'avant
5
Justin
times
Trudeau.
more
Oui,
than
vous
before
avez
the arrival
raison.
of Justin.
Pour
So
vos petits
yes,
amis
you're right.
libéraux,
For
Justin,
your
ça va
nice
très
liberal
bien.
friends, things are going
Mais
swimmingly.
il y a de la souffrance
But there
dans les
is
visages, Justin,
suffering
que vous voyez pas.
on faces
Il y a
that
la
you're
peine
not seeing,
dans les
Justin,
voix que vous n'entendez pas.
and you're not
Il y a
hearing
la
the
détresse
pain out there
et
and
des
the
ordres
distress
dans les endroits
and
que vous
the
n'allez pas.
disorder in the
Et
places
si vous
that
me
you're not
croyez
going to.
pas,
And if you don't believe
venez
me,
avec moi
then come with me
au centre d'épicerie.
to
où j'étais
the grocery
hier soir.
store that
J'ai
I
rencontré un
went
cuisinier
to last night,
qui m'a dit
and
qu'il
I
va
met
devoir
with a kitchen
retarder
worker where he said
sa retraite
that he wouldn't be
à
able
cause
to
de
retire
l'augmentation
yet
dans le coût de la
because
vie.
of the increase in the
savez-vous quoi,
cost of
Justin?
living. You know what,
Qu'est-ce qu'il a
Justin?
brisé? C'est le fait, comme cuisinier,
What
il ne
you've
peut
broken
pas
is the fact that as
acheter les
a
mêmes ingrédients
chef, he can't buy the
pour se
same
nourrir à sa maison
ingredients
qu'il
to
utilise
feed
au
him
travail.
at home as the ones that he's using
une attaque
at
contre
work.
sa fierté
It's an attack
personnelle. Si vous
against
me croyez
his
pas qu'il y a de la
self-pride.
souffrance
If
dans
you
notre
don't
pays,
believe me
cher
when I say
Justin,
that there's suffering in our
venez
country,
avec
dear
moi dans
Justin,
dans le nord de
come with
l'Ontario,
me to the north of
où
Ontario,
les personnes âgées
where
doivent vivre dans le froid.
all
Parce
people
qu'ils
have
peuvent pas
to
payer
live
votre
in
taxe
the cold
carbone
because they
sur leur
can't afford
chauffage.
your
Ou
carbon
même
tax on
aux
their
personnes âgées au
heating,
Québec
or even for
qui ont
seniors
faim
in
parce qu'ils
Quebec
peuvent pas
who are
payer
hungry because
l'augmentation
they
de
cannot
12%
afford the
dans un an
12%
pour la
increase
nourriture
in
parce
1
que vos
year
taxes sur l'engrais
on food prices because of
augmenté
your
le
taxes
coût
on fertilizers that have
des,
increased
de nourriture.
the cost
Venez
of
avec
food.
moi, cher Justin,
Come with me,
pour
dear Justin,
parler aux étudiants
and speak
qui
with the
vivent dans les
students
centres d'hébergement
who are living
parce
in
qu'ils peuvent pas payer
shelters
le 200
because
le
they
$2000
cannot afford the
de loyer que ça coûte pour
$2,000
un
in
petit
rent that it would
appartement
cost for a
d'une
small
Vous
one-bedroom
nous avez
apartment.
donné une augmentation de 100%
You've given
dans
us
le
a
loyer
100%
en 7
increase
ans.
in rental
c'est
prices
vous,
over
Monsieur Trudeau,
7
qui
years.
a
You're the
causé
one,
ces
Mr. Trudeau,
augmentations-là.
who's caused
Venez avec
these
moi pour parler
increases.
aux familles des
Come
30
with
000
me
personnes
to
qui ont
speak to the
perdu
families of the
un proche à
30,000
cause
people
des
who've
drogues.
lost
Venez
a
avec
dear
moi parler
family
aux
member
familles des
because of
immigrants
drugs,
qui
or
essaient
speak
de
with the
commanditer
immigrant families
un membre
who
de
are
famille,
trying
mais
to
qui
sponsor
attendent
a
depuis des
family
mois et des
member
mois
and have been
en même
waiting for
temps
months and
que vous
months at the
permettez
same time as you're
90 000 personnes
allowing
traverser la
90,000
frontière
people
illégalement
to
au
cross the
chemin de
border
Roxham.
illegally at the Roxham
Venez avec
Road
moi,
border
cher
crossing.
Justin.
Come with me, Justin, dear Justin, to talk about the victims of crime who are suffering because of the 32% increase in crime since you took power. Come with me and speak with people who've lost out on their vacation because there's complete chaos in our transport system, our federal transport system. It's complete chaos out there. But Justin will say that he's not responsible for all of that. It's somebody else. He's just been in power for 8 years. It's not reasonable to expect that a federal prime minister would be responsible for the federal criminal code, nor would it be responsible to imagine and expect that a federal prime minister would be responsible for the federal airports. Nor is it reasonable to expect that a federal prime minister would be responsible for inflation that's caused by the federal government spending. But if Justin Trudeau is not able to do anything for these files, then why is he there? Why? He can't do anything.
Cher Justin,
dear Justin, Canadians deserve better. It's Canada where people should be able to fulfill their dreams, and Canadians are good people. They're working hard. They deserve better, and we're going to deliver more.
On va convertir la peine que Justin Trudeau a causée
turn the suffering caused by Justin into hope, the hope that Canadians need. When I was younger, I've got two parents that were teachers, and they taught me something very important. They said that wherever we come from, what's important is where we're heading. It doesn't matter who we know. What matters is what we can do. And in Canada, we're able to work hard and fulfill our dreams in a country that gives benefits and advantages to people who work hard so that you can keep more of your paycheck to cover food and homes. And, of course, affordable gas. And we want to remove the carbon tax so that municipalities can also construct more housing, more affordable housing for young people, and so that Canadians can keep a bigger portion of their paycheck, so that it pays to work again in Canada, in a country where immigrants that come in here legally to work are given advantages rather than those who are illegally crossing the border. When immigrants come here, then they'll have the opportunity to work in their area of competence, because we, the Conservatives, are going to promote that in the provinces to make sure that our physicians and our immigrant nurses and other immigrant workers can work in their own area of competence to fulfill their dreams. And we will get rid of these disastrous policies that have led to crime in our streets, because Canadians have the right to live safely. We're going to eliminate corruption, cut down on waste, and limit expenditure so that there's more left in the pockets of the man and the woman in the street. And we're going to stop these inflationist policies so that we can buy more with our dollars, and so that Canadians can pay for a respectable life full of dignity. And we're going to bring back the hope that Justin Trudeau has removed, and we're going to give Canadians control of their lives once again in the most freedom-dominated country in the world. Thank you, friends.
Merci. Thank you. What's happening in our country? Seriously, look around you. Crime is raging out of control in our streets. Our people are desperate that they'll have to lose their homes because of rising inflation and interest rates the government promised would never happen. People are losing loved ones at record rates to violent crime and drug overdoses. And families who've been locked down for 2 years because of COVID are now locked down at airports when they try to get away for a small vacation. Everything feels broken. Oh, I just offended Justin Trudeau. He gets very angry when I talk about these problems. He thinks that if we don't speak about them out loud, that Canadians will forget that they exist. He said this to me in a very angry speech right before Christmas, where he told 2,000 Liberal lobbyists and political staffers and consultants who'd paid $500 to listen to him speak that Canadians have never had it so good. And you know what? For the people in that room, he's absolutely right. They have never had it so good. The $1,000 a day consultants at McKinsey have never had it so good. In fact, the consulting contracts that he's given up have gone up 100% in the 8 years since he took office. Justin, these people are very grateful to you. That's why they are donating so much to your party. The lobbyists, whose contracts have also increased by 100%. Justin, they've never had it so good either. All of the political staffers around the Hill that are giving out these contracts to their long-term friends, they've never had it so good either. And with your $6,000 a night hotel rooms, you've never had it so good yourself, Justin. But let me tell you something, Justin. There is pain in the faces you do not see. There is suffering in the voices you do not hear. And there is distress and even chaos in the places you do not go. If you don't believe me, come with me over to the local grocery store in East End, Ottawa, where I was last night, where a 60-year-old plus cook came up to me with tears in his eyes to tell me he has to delay his retirement. But you know the thing that really broke him? That he can no longer afford the very ingredients to cook at home that he works with in his job at work. Justin, if you don't believe me, come to Northern Ontario and ask the elderly woman who lives in the cold because your carbon tax has made it too expensive for her to heat her home. If you don't believe me, Justin, come speak to the students who live in homeless shelters while they go to school, because the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Toronto after 8 years of your leadership is $2,500 a month. That's more than a 100% increase since you took office, and you've done absolutely nothing to incentivize the construction of new and affordable homes for our young people. If you don't believe me, Justin, go to the food banks, where 1.5 million people go to eat in a given month. Stay around long enough. You might hear from some of the people who come to the food bank asking for help getting medical assistance and dying, not because they're sick, but because they're too poor and too miserable after 8 years of your leadership to go on living like this. If you don't believe me, Justin, go talk to the families of the 30,000 people who've lost a loved one to drug overdoses after you favored policies that flooded our streets with heroin and fentanyl, and you tied the hands of our police and prevented them from doing anything about it. After you failed to hold the scumbag corporations who brought these drugs to our streets accountable. Companies like McKinsey, Mr. Trudeau, companies to whom you continue to give $100 million worth of contracts. Mr. Trudeau, if you don't believe me, go to the now permanent encampments that have taken over large parts of formerly prosperous and bustling communities in our cities like Vancouver, Toronto, and Peterborough. If you don't believe me, take a trip to the city transit, Mr. Trudeau, in Toronto, where 40 homeless people are forced to spend the night because your policies have made it impossible for them to get a home, where crime now rages out of control and women say they're afraid to even get on the train. On June 17th, the Toronto TTC, a woman in her 20s, died of her injuries after she was set on fire. December 8th, a fatal stabbing on Line 2 train at High Park Station left a 31-year-old woman dead and injured. The suspect was wielding an ice pick. You don't believe me, Mr. Trudeau? Get on one of those trains and talk to the people who will tell you the story of a woman who was stabbed in the head and face on a Spadina streetcar just south of Bloor Street. She was taken to hospital with life-altering injuries. These are not one-off stories, Justin. Crime is up 32% since you took office. Violent gang crime up 92% after 8 years in office. You are responsible for the criminal code, for the borders that bring in the illegal guns. You are responsible for our national police force. And after 8 years, you have given Canadians cities that are turning into crime zones. This is your record, Mr. Trudeau. Meanwhile, illegal border crossings have exploded, crossings that were almost unheard of when you took office. This is 8 years. You told us that better was always possible, and yet everything is worse, and you blame everyone else. And we know what you will do this session of Parliament. You will divide to distract. You'll try to make people afraid of each other, because you think that if an average Canadian is afraid of his neighbor, he'll forget that he can't feed himself or pay the rent. You'll try to take all of the responsibility off of yourself and to put it on others. You'll claim you have nothing to do with any of these files, as though, as a federal prime minister, you're not responsible for the federal criminal code. As a federal prime minister, you're not responsible for the chaotic federal airports. That as a federal prime minister, you're not responsible for the $500 billion of federal debt that you have added that led to a 40-year high in inflation. If you're not responsible for any of these things, if you can't do anything about it, then why don't you get out of the way and let someone lead who can? Leadership means turning the hurt that Trudeau has caused into the hope that Canadians need and deserve. Canadians are good, decent, hardworking people. They deserve better than this, and better is what they will get. Our Poilievre government will cap government spending, cut the waste, and fire the high-priced consultants so that we can put the money back in the pockets of our people. We'll toughen corruption laws to expose the insiders who are getting rich by making everyone else poor. We will, instead of tripling the carbon tax as Trudeau plans, we will axe the tax and we will use technology instead of taxes to protect our environment. We will remove the gatekeepers so that our brilliant immigrants can again work as doctors and nurses and have big, powerful, inflation-proof paychecks. We will remove the gatekeepers that stand in the way of our small businesses creating jobs and opportunities. We will remove the gatekeepers so that our First Nations can take back control of their lives and their resources and generate massive opportunities for their young people to build skills, to fund water systems that work, and to take care of their people and take control of their lives. We will divert money that's being wasted targeting law-abiding hunters and anglers, and instead use that money to reinforce our borders and keep the smuggled guns out. And we will use that money to provide real treatment and recovery to save the lives of our friends, our neighbors, our brothers and sisters who are suffering with addiction.